the flats are just sticking. They just can't sell the flats, or high value stuff. So high value stuff and flats are just not moving on the market, which I think is a sentiment probably around most of the country, except for some strategic locations, maybe.
Yeah, but rental demand is through the roof. Well, the areas that we're working in, the strength of the rental market is insane. But yeah, the sales market. I mean, most of the stuff we're involved with is build to rent anyway. It's designed on the yield, so it's just trying to find lenders now who will refinance based on the yield that the building generates, rather than looking at, because we never built these schemes to sell them off separately. The views aren't as nice as you'd expect. There's 50% parking spaces, but out of the 11 we've sold now, 3 of them haven't wanted parking, which is fine. We're fine on the site, and confidence to hold this thing forward is great, but we don't want to leave too much money in, really.
So just touching on the flats is a bit of a sticky market. We're selling 30, we've got probably 35 flats that we've launched already to the market this year, and we've got another 35 that will be going on before the end of the year. And I think positioning and how a couple of things. Obviously, there's two things to sell a property, and that's marketing and pricing, and they're two really important things. But what you can't control is obviously what the stock is, like what layout it is. Is it a flat? One massive limitation to flats since COVID has been amenity space. So we try and actually sometimes take away from our net saleable area, which sounds counterintuitive, and provide some amenity space. We also, because we develop in a lot in market towns around Oxfordshire, we also ensure that we have lifts if we can, so that every flat in the building, we only typically do 2 or 3 story buildings, office buildings, can have curbside access for elderly, so what I call downsizers or sort of last time buyers, and then you also appeal to first time buyers and second time buyers. And we've actually done quite well still on sales. We're still getting sales out the door at good values, like above guide in some instances.
I would say though, Jack, you are in one of those strategic markets, though, aren't you, in the home counties where there are a lot of rich people?
Yeah. Marlow and Henley-on-Thames are in the top 10 places of wealth in the UK, not per capita. So it's a huge way of affluence in these areas. But then we've got other pocket towns at slightly lower values, and we can't sell on yield. So we've got to sell on the actual stock and getting the products right.
Interesting. So if you were in, how would you think, Jack, if you were in, say, I don't know, fucking Wolverhampton or the Midlands or the North, like would you be looking at a sales strategy, or would you be like, no, that's just a yield play, like don't mess about, just build stuff to rent it out?
Yeah, I think any developer or any property investor has to have a strategy that works all year round, any year, no matter whether cost of living gets tight, whether the economy is a little bit unconfident, and then I even have a backup that also works all year round. That's why our London scheme was probably the biggest squeaky bum scheme that we've done, because you can't rent that scheme out. That scheme doesn't wipe its face if you rent it out, so we have to sell. Whereas everything else, we're kind of in this really good spot in the home counties areas where, because our values are high, but it actually yields up, and they wouldn't make huge money in cash flow, but you could actually refinance and get out of the trouble if you can't get rid of them. So if I was up in Wolverhampton, I just want to do a strategy where I can be confident that I can exit, and that would probably just be refinance and hold the rental model. And if everyone investing in that at the beginning knows what that looks like, they're not being surprised by going, "Oh, sorry, we're changing tack now." Sometimes you have to, but they're not going, what all of the stock you're doing you're refinancing. I thought we were exiting. So just have an exit that you're confident it will work in as many. I wouldn't say every economy, because I haven't been through as a business owner, anything like 2008 or any of the other sort of slam dunk changes in the market. But most markets, I kind of feel like we've almost had the 2008, but just spread over 10 years, because every year there's been something different. And it's like, Brexit, COVID, the war, another war, tariffs. So it's like death by a thousand cuts. And sometimes it's just easier and quicker to have a short, sharp correction. And then at least you can get on and make hay while the sun shines. Because a lot of people made a lot of money in 2010, 2011, 2010 to 2015. 2015 was like the peak of the market, and we haven't seen that recovery in the market.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you go and subscribe to the Ground Up Podcast.